Welcome to the Renku Feature Preview. The purpose of the feature preview is to share and discuss the most recent developments and features that are coming in the next Renku releases. The purpose of the meeting is also to create a shared space for interested community members to meet the team and learn about our approach for developing Renku. But just to set expectations, this is not exactly a polished presentation, but rather a behind-the-scenes look at the features that are coming presented by the engineers who have built them. This meeting is also a live team meeting where some of the team is seeing final versions of these features for the first time. So some of the questions and discussion may go into a fairly technical level, but nonetheless, we welcome questions from the community of all kinds. So first up, Lorenzo, you're willing to go first with the group page?
Sure.
So the brief context for this build is that we've had the concept of groups in Renku for quite some time. But to be really effective, one key feature that they were missing was to be able to search and filter through the content in that group. And so that's what we have built now.
All right, thank you, Laura. Yeah, so the idea here is to make with this first build about improving group pages is to make the content easier to navigate through. So that applies especially to bigger groups, to groups with a lot of resources inside. And perhaps I can show the current state. So as of now, groups are simple pages, not too different from user pages. So you have a bunch of stuff in it, like projects and data. And if we switch to the group, it's basically the same with the addition of the settings page where you can change the name and a few other details, and you can add group members. So in an effort to improve the simple group page, we added an additional tab, this search tab, and we also simplified a little bit the overview. So we have ideas for further improving the overview, but for now we just show a limited number of projects and data connectors. Ideally in the future, this would be a place where the group owners can highlight specific resources that are particularly important for web groups. But for now, just show a limited number of resources, and then you can go to the new search page using either this button here or clicking directly on the tab up here. And this is the new page that we added. So it looks like a search page, but inside the project, so the scope is limited. Plus, there are a few differences with the existing search page that we will see in a moment. One thing worth mentioning is that we envision users to take advantage of keywords more than in the past. So as part of the effort here, we also streamline how keywords work in projects. So let me pick something semi-random. So now everywhere we show keywords, they appear in a very similar way, and updating them is a better experience than in the past. You might remember that we had ugly interface for updating keywords. Now it's a little bit better, so you can do stuff on the fly and then update and it is saved. And we have a similar experience also for data connectors. We already supported keywords to some extent, but we were only importing them, for example, in data connectors taken from Zenodo or from external data sets. While now you can also add keywords to your own data set. So much overlaying stuff from Zoom. Okay, here. So if I click edit, I can just add another keyword. I can remove this one and it's done. And now that we have these keywords and we can support them in the new search page, we can take advantage of them from the filtering side here. The main difference between filtering in the group page and the previous filtering implemented for the search page is that this section is meant to be dynamic. So the filters you see will depend on your current search. The initial plan was to have everything dynamic here, but we had some limitations, so only some fields are dynamic. But you can get an idea by clicking around. So for example, if you start selecting some keywords, then the content is limited. And then the selection changes. Also, we show some numbers to give you an idea of what's available. So for example, you know, there are no data connectors matching this search. You can relax this and then you can keep browsing around. And as you see, the filters change. Not for all the entities, all the filters make sense. So for example, we have group members for project, but as soon as you switch to data connectors, when they disappear. The idea is that we can add more dynamic filters in the futures. So for example, with data connectors, here we're showing the type of data connector, we're showing whether it's read-only or not. So we envision taking advantage of this information and then adding it to the filtering. Ideally, this should make it easier to refine your search down to what you are searching. Plus, it should be also easier to share some specific content with your audience. So imagine that in this group you have a lot of projects. Oh, sorry, well, only 5 now, so maybe it's not the best example. But you can, for example, select one group member. You can select a keyword. And then we update the URL to match this selection, so you can navigate back and forth if you wish. And you can also copy paste this link. So if you give it to another person, then it will show up exactly the same filters. Yep, that is pretty much it for the first iteration on the group pages. So to recap, we extended the support of keywords to all the entities that can appear in a group page. We streamlined the appearance, and then we added this new search page.
Thank you.
Sure. Any question?
When do we make this into the main search?
As soon as we can.
Yeah. So ideally, the how we show the result here can be implemented immediately also in the search page. And this can be pretty much implemented one-to-one also on the personal namespace. So for example, here we can add a tab, minimal changes, and yeah, making it to the search page like also the dynamic filtering might take a little longer, but it's also relatively easy.
That is the goal, to have it be consistent.
Yeah.
Just didn't fit in this cycle.
In the presentations, the UI always take all the glory, but of course there is work also from the backend. So I contributed in this sprint and also the previous one. So adding the data connectors to the search engine and enabling another a few features that have been used in this search page.
I have a question. Is it possible to add the for data connectors the type?
What do you mean by type?
Oh, as a filter?
Yeah, like S3, WebDAV, etc.
So it's something we envision doing in the future. Now it's not currently available in the list of metadata. So one example.
But it's not exposed from the query.
Mm-hmm.
It would mean a little change in the backend again.
Okay.
It's not a,
But it's being indexed already.
Oh, it's in Solar?
it's in Solar.
Oh,
Okay.
As far as I can.
Then it should be easy. Just an additional metadata that we return.
I only have to expose it and read it.
Because it wouldn't show in the results if it's not in Solar. Like these results are coming from Solar.
Yes.
Yes, but it's also, I mean, if you had like 10,000 data connectors here, then the current query coming back from Solar just showed. So from the UI, we can get whatever is in the result list. While for other stuff, we have also metadata section, so we know all the types that are in all the result list, not only the one that we're showing at the moment.
So question, how sensitive the keywords are to typos?
Very sensitive, but we are, so if you just, let me do an example. If you add the same keywords but uppercase, it will show in another category. It's minimal, but as you see, it's a new one. And take a second here to update. I guess refreshing the page is the biggest thing to do, but yeah, as you see, there is a new entry. So on the one hand, it's annoying because you probably want these two to be under the same category. On the other hand, for now, you cannot free type the keywords. You can only select them. So at least.
Yeah, but it's for people who enter keywords.
Yeah, so from that, one extension that I have in mind, I need to write up as a pitch that we can maybe pick up at some point is to have a concept of a group admin be able to like set a list of like preset keywords that would be the ones that would be like suggested first to all member projects and data connectors to try to encourage reusing the same exact keywords. It's something I've bounced off a couple of people and seems to resonate well. So they also very quickly bring up like how to make sure we don't have keyword explosion, but also didn't fit in this cycle. But yeah, I think we at some point need to do something about that.
I wonder if it can be even more dynamic, like if you are creating, for example, a new project and you are creating it in the group namespace, then as soon as you start typing new keywords.
Oh, generate it dynamically rather than like a admin creating a list.
Exactly. So as soon as they
Yeah,
start
that would be
typing,
another
then it
possibility.
shows all the other keywords available in the other resources in the same namespace. That might be an idea.
That could be, yeah. That would also be cool.
Yes, good to know. Okay.
If you search for a keyword, or if you search like the beginning of a keyword, does it suggest the keyword at all?
No, it doesn't
No,
do that.
no. Now, if you want to filter the keywords, this one.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the search engine will understand this. No.
Is
Can
there a
you-
way to in the
But if you do keyword column,
Yes, I can do
Okay.
this. But it's like semi-hidden. Like this is exactly the same thing that will happen
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in here. All right. I stop sharing and
awesome.
continue.
Thank you, Lawrence. Would like to
Absolutely.
would you like to go next, Shora? All right, so the next is actually a little bit of an exception from our usual feature preview. We're going to be demoing something that is not coming in the next release, but it's something that we put a lot of work into, and there's going to be a lot more coming in the next couple of like next 6 months or so of our roadmap.
so this is about running Renku Lab sessions at CSCS. So this is a demo, so it shows like how we can do it. It's not production ready, but we're gonna build it soon. And so for the demo, it would be nice to show that we can do stuff. So do you have any Python package that's a bit random that I can add to my
Torch.
No.
Not that
I
one.
mean, I think it would just take quite a while to build.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, good. To rebuild. And we can show once it's rebuilt, we can take the image and we can show that it has NumPy and matplotlib. So in the meantime, we'll go to the demo. So this kind of special project that works only for the demo. And this special session launcher has some Firecrest stuff to connect to CSCS. But you can see once we're starting, the session. So what we want to do for like once we build this for our production into Renku Lab is that people will be able to create a session launcher and just say, hey, I want to be able to start my session at CSCS. And then it would all look very similar. And the only difference would be that after you've connected to CSCS, so like either through integration or asking you to put your credentials into Renku Lab, that you would just be able to start interactive sessions that run as jobs at CSCS. So here, if we look, see like we're gonna submit the job on Eiger in the ops cluster, and see like we even have our job ID. So if I go to my HPC dashboard, here's my interactive session, and it's running. You can even some fun looking at the secret sauce of the script and what logs it is telling us. And here we have it started and running, just a couple of small things. And here I've put an example with one code repository here in this folder that was defining the environment that runs in here. And also DOI data connector. So this is this RA5 is a data set hosted on Zenodo. So it's not living at CSCS, but, and so we can see like we can open the files. We can go into our code repository and do git fetch. We can commit. Oh. Let's see that we have the proper git data. Then we can push. Do this. Push. And all of this looks like, hey, it's just a session running on Renku Lab. What's different? Well, first you can see I tap ID. Here, this stuff is my account at CSCS. I do hostname. So it's a node ID from CSCS. I also have the Slurm binaries mounted by default. So CSCS does that. So I can see the status of the cluster, what's running, and so on. I can get, oh, this is me running here. So hopefully, like that shows like I'm running at CSCS. I mean, I also have the Scratch space mounted. So here you can see I'm running into kind of I created this .renku folder to my Scratch space. But if I go here, it's my Scratch space with some random things I've done there. So with this, it's very similar to how I could try to do something at CSCS, except I did this in like, I mean, if I were to set up from starting the project, building an image and so on, it would be much faster than trying to understand all the documentation about how SSH, how I start a Slurm job with a container image and so on. So that's that. And yes, so what we can do, and hopefully it's not going to be a demo effect, is to now go back here with our environment that we just built with NumPy and Matplotlib. And do this and show that we can run easily images that Renku Lab builds. Oh, and also pretty interesting, when you stop your Renku Lab session, of course, we also make sure we don't leave your job running. Just doing nothing and spending your CSCS credits. So once you stop your session, it is stopped. So here, yes, so now we should have a new job running. So new session. Okay. Okay. I think she's just starting the content. Yes. Is it? Yeah, it's here. And so now I added NumPy and we added max link. But for example, we didn't add pandas, so yeah, it's not there. So this way people can run with the environment they want to have at CSCS. And what's good is it's exactly, you saw like it's exactly the same image I built on Renku Lab. So you can also have the benefit of working on Renku Lab. You can start prototyping, do all your work with Python libraries you like, and then just take that, put it into CSCS, and also do things there. Yep. So that's it from me. So any questions?
Just have one.
Yeah. Oh,
Shampar?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
No, I think somebody wanted. Can you hear me?
Yep.
yes.
Rock, you had a question, right?
No, I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Looks interesting. Getting somewhere now. Sorry. Just trying to wrap my head around the example. So, so I can see very well that the job is running on CSCS, the compute part, but then there is like different elements to a compute, right? So there is the build part of the container. There is the, I mean, the compute in terms of starting the job, and of course, usually when you're on the command line, you're just like submitting a job. It's not necessarily interactive, but here we have the graphical side of submitting a job. That is exactly what we're seeing here. But I was not sure in the two examples that you showed, which was the Git repository behind, which was the container registry that we are using, and where exactly the images were being built, exactly the compute part of the image, like the GitLab runner or whatever. You understand?
In this example, I just used the build from code feature that we have on Renku Lab.
Okay, so here, okay, that was a little quick for me. So here you are on gitlab.com, okay,
No.
and then you have the,
No, this is
sorry.
just this repository is hosted.
Right, exactly. So you're hosting your code on gitlab.com, and the container image associated with that code is on your instance on harbor.renkulab.io. Okay. Okay. And so it's getting built on the Harbor instance,
Yes.
or is it just the storage there of the image?
I mean,
So this is example. This is the code based.
Yeah.
This is the code based feature for creating a session launcher. Oh,
Yeah, so
yeah, but you can, yeah, maybe here. But I'm not sure whether you have understood that the image has been automatically created by Renku using the code-based image,
Code-based environment.
Right.
code-based environment.
But where are the resources which are building the image? I mean, I just want to know
It's
that.
hidden. It's inside Renku. They are all hidden. You
That means it's on switch engines, right?
and switch engines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, wherever Renku is currently based. I mean, later maybe Azure, but okay. So that I'm just trying to get a hang of that. Okay. In both the examples, the images were built on the Renku instance, and then what happened exactly when at what point does the image get transferred to the CSCS?
Oh, I mean, so the image is publicly accessible, and CSCS has access to the internet.
Right.
So, very simply put, we just, I mean,
Okay. So you submit. Okay, part of the job is you're submitting the address to the image, and it's getting transferred there automatically. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
And
because CSCS runs, I mean, CSCS has en route installed to run containers.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And with the Pixies plugin on Slurm, it means to just say, I want to run a container workload, and it just does that.
Right. And how are you transmitting? Is there some setup like in terms of? So I'm not a big expert on this, but is there a setup in terms of a normal image which we could maybe send a tar GZ, or like what format is it being transferred? Like Singularity?
It's just, I mean, it is very simply the image URL in the en route format. So it's just that. So just you could, I mean,
These are regular Docker.
yeah. It's just with en route you have this thing where they put this hashtag sign, but otherwise Docker pull this image.
Okay. It's fine.
And here, this interactive session can work with a lot of images. It's more like that for setting things up correctly and for running it correctly. It needs to run like a Renku session image.
Right.
That's why using the build from code is the easiest way.
Right.
You can build your own images, but then you need to understand, like from the Renku documentation, like that we will have environment variables that say, hey, you should put your, you should listen on this port, you should use this folder as your working directory, and so on.
Right.
But otherwise, it's not a lot of super specific.
Okay. And in Renku 2.0 in the roadmap, are you going to propose a Harbor instance for container registry, or that we need to also like because it's very flexible, right? So you can have your data somewhere, your compute somewhere, but in terms of container registry, that also, are we going to choose it as a custom one, or do you get what I'm saying?
Trumpak, on currently we envision that people will roll out Shipwright, which builds the images, and Harbor, which is the container registry that stores the images. The Shipwright part is not so easy to, I think, like remove out of the picture, but potentially the Harbor part and where the images are stored, that is a bit easier to be flexible around. But so we could, if there is interest in the future, make this, but for now,
I mean, it suits me that you guys have the Harbor, but then it's a responsibility also to maintain it, right? So my question was whether you are still keen on maintaining the Harbor instance in Renku 2.0. So SDSC is.
yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, that is part of I'm not sure what you mean by keen. I mean, we'd rather maintain less. But we see-
Exactly. Well,
But we see it as a very important part of of Renku and and a very important feature. So
right.
we will maintain it because
I mean, like you're giving up
provides-
on the GitLab. So I was wondering if the container registry part also, are you going to like,
Yeah,
make
but
it,
I mean, just to be clear, users can't use Harbor
Yes.
as a registry. They can only use the images that we build. They have no access to Harbor otherwise.
sure. I mean, but you're initiating, it.
It's not like the GitLab instance where you could actually,
use it.
go in there and do whatever you wanted. With Harbor, you can't. It's only used directly from Renku, by Renku.
Right. So you mean to say it's only accessible via the renkulab.io interface?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of done automatically for the user. The user can't really do anything else with it other than pull the image.
Right. So there won't be like a setup of all sorts of the other things which go with tokens and
No.
all the other permissions. Yeah, it's much more simplified.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, it's actually interesting that you still, maintain the Harbor part, because I mean, I don't think it's easy for many people to have their own institutional container registry.
But it's not. I think that's what Rob is saying. This is way simpler than an institutional container registry.
Yeah. No.
Registry was one project in which we don't even have to keep the images because we can rebuild them at any time.
Right.
So the images, I don't know what are, I don't know what.
Okay. You mean to say
we can have much looser policy. It's not an institutional container registry. There's a lot more that comes with if we wanted to make this like a fully open, fully fledged, Harbor deployment with people being able to make their own projects and all these things.
Right. So basically you're saying that you build only what's necessary.
Yes.
Like what the user initiates, because I remember in like the current setup, which is like you're slowly sunsetting, is that every commit you're building a new image, right?
Yeah, that's in legacy Renku, but for this it's
right. Exactly. Yeah.
The user has to trigger it, and
right.
We have the luxury of being able. I mean, yeah, it's like there's no. I think there'll be no probably explicit guarantees that if you copy some image link that is produced by Harbor and you can kind of dig around and find that, there's no guarantee that will be forever available on Harbor. But we guarantee that when you go to your session in Renku, you can rebuild your image and start a session. And, that's very different than, like guaranteeing that the image will be there is quite different than what we currently have. So.
And the final question, I don't want to take too much of your time here. It's that what did you have to prepare on the CSCS side for this demo example, apart from obtaining an account and all that?
I'm not sure I get question, like what does the user?
I mean to say, did the CSCS admins have to set up something, or is this just you just use the Firecrest API and that's it?
Yeah, there's the Firecrest API. I mean, for us to.
So they apart from giving you an account, they didn't have to do anything else.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 components: Firecrests, enroute as the runtime, and pixies to help with the Slurm commands, and that's it.
And the Slurm.
Yeah, sure, Slurm.
But that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's okay, because we on our HPC we have only Slurm, we don't have all the rest, so just trying to wrap my head around that. Okay, great, thanks.
Thanks for your question, Shaker.
Yep, no problem.
I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from. Did you also have a?
Oh, I just want to know, so there is an image here that runs also on the Renku Lab side,
yes,
right? And that could just be like a super minimalist thing, presumably, right?
We can make it so there's not even an image.
Yeah, okay. So the startup time for the Renku side should be actually extremely fast.
I mean, it was fast.
Okay. Well, presumably you had it cached, but even if it wasn't, like you don't have to pull the image that you build, is what I'm saying.
Oh no, yeah, the
Yeah.
image was pulled from CSCS.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Bora. And Celine, also being part of that. Okay, then last but not least, we have another demo of work that's been going on for quite some time.
Yes.
So we just demoed running Renku sessions on CSCS, but we actually also in parallel been working on running Renku sessions in external compute in a more general sense, which will present.
Yep. Share screen. So maybe just a couple of slides which I took from Laura. So we're talking about the external compute, and here the idea is to. I think that was that. Does it work? Yes, nice. Was that currently basically we run the user session as part of the core platform on the same cluster. And what we wanted to do is to separate that because it allows us to add more isolation and also to run on different things, be it like other cloud providers or private institutional clouds or infrastructure that you might have, whatever the reasons. There are many use cases there. So my work was to basically enable that so that we get as part of the core services the modification required to talk to a remote cluster. So basically what's the idea? The idea is that you have in your institution some compute resource, some data, which might, for example, be private and sensitive, which you don't want to expose to the internet, and you still would like to use Renku, right? So the idea for us was that you could basically deploy a Renku agent instead of the full platform and just get that working. And then once that's done, your users can just connect to Renku Lab.io and start a session, and then we would redirect the information about the session to your infrastructure through our Renku agent and start the session there, and then connect the user straight to your infrastructure on his session. So that's the basic idea on how things work. That was quite a challenge, a road to get there. Lots of details. And basically we do that for, I mentioned it already, if you have data which is protected. I'm kind of going through Laura's slides. With the goal to have a minimal admin burden for anyone else to deploy this Renku agent. That's kind of the thing. Right now you can do that, but you would have to deploy the full Renku platform with GitLab, with Shipwright, with lots of other things. And that's not what we would like. But we still with the centralized project hub. So what do we mean by minimal admin burden here? I've been able to basically shrink down the requirements to just the Kubernetes cluster with 3 ports available on internet. Those are the 3 ports we use to talk to the Kubernetes API for basically the core platform to talk to the Renku agent. The port for the user to talk to his session, and also for the SSH connection, which we still support. You won't support it? Okay, so that's one port I can remove. Yeah, okay, so I'll remove that. This other parameters that are required are basically an ingress class. Here, this is talking really Kubernetes speak, which allows you for your pod to download code, data, and containers from internet or your infrastructure. Priority classes, here I say plural, but at least one to run the user session. This is how we limit the quota and how much CPU, how much memory you can use, and so on. Same thing with storage. We will need a storage class with automatic provisioning so that when you start your session, you get your work folder, which is kept between hibernations. And again, here you could have one or multiple, but we need at least one. A dedicated namespace to isolate the user session. So we want to run them in a single namespace so that you're sure that it's not going anywhere else. And obviously a service account for the core services to connect to your infrastructure. And on that Kubernetes cluster, you will need to deploy basically the user session operator, which we call Amalthea session. And for the data connector supports, CSI R-clone. That's looks like a big list. It's actually not. I mean, it's really mostly like administrative things, a couple of settings. And based on that, you will have to provide those parameters to the core platform admins so that they can set up resource pools, basically, which will allow then your users to connect through a simple custom launch and select. Is there any questions so far? No.
I have a naive question here.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were an admin in an external institution for this external setting up the external compute, I mean, nobody I know around me has experience with Kubernetes as such. We're trying to build it up, but would you have some sort of a Helm chart or something like that to set it up, like a standard vanilla template?
So to set up the operator, let me go back.
The Renku agent.
Yeah, the Renku agent, which is basically those two settings. Yes,
Okay.
those are installed through two Helm charts.
Okay.
Some of these parameters will need someone to understand a bit more Kubernetes, right?
Okay, you cannot provide scripts for that.
Well, I mean, this is like people creating a couple of parameters, but yes, I mean, we will have example comments and you can choose from there.
Okay.
Actually have, I'm not sure how well it will work. Basically, I'm preparing.
I think it's really standard, basic things that are easily configured. I think it's not really anything sophisticated.
So for example, here, like those are parameters for the egress to make sure that you can only go to where we expect the user session to go. That's basically what was on the slides, but more like on the checklist. And here, like the instructions that you can just copy paste to install the CSI R-clone component. And I just need to finish the documentation for the operator itself. And then the parameters that you need to supply are basically this. Yeah. And based on those parameters, we will do some configuration in the main. Based on those parameters, I mean, if that answers your question.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, it was just a naive question. I was just trying to imagine, like, if right now I have access to our data center, and then I size a huge virtual machine where I mean, we don't have Kubernetes as a standard offering. How would I be able to set up a mini cube, or I don't know, something, and then have a Renku agent running and try out external compute, you know,
So
without having experience with Kubernetes itself, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean here the expectation is that we're talking to institution with that
Okay.
experience or
Great.
someone. So that's
Okay,
why
cool.
I've kind of left it out of the scope of this presentation.
Okay. I'll
But
let you continue then. Yeah, okay.
no problem. That's a very good question. But yeah, I mean, here the assumption is that you have that and how to deploy it quickly from there.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So yeah, based on basically the settings we just mentioned, what the admins of the core platform will do is just create a secret with the configuration to connect to your infrastructure, then create a cluster definition which allows us to tag basically a resource pool on Renku, so that you can then, as soon as you select it when you start the session, we know that this is this specific resource pool, this specific cluster, so we go and connect and go there. Now maybe if I go to a quick demo.
The core admin's not going to create the kubeconfig file, right? That's going to be the people who are responsible for the external cluster.
Yeah, I mean this is putting the 3 parameters in the secret.
Okay, yeah, it says the core admins will create a kubeconfig file, but
yeah, I mean that's with the credentials, and so I simplified a bit here.
I mean, the owner of the infrastructure gives the core admins the kubeconfig file.
Yeah. Okay. And we have to make sure there's the namespace in it. That's something. Yeah. Okay. Window. As far as then how it happens is that for now we only have a Swagger API interface for the admins, and basically, am I not logged in anymore? I guess. Yeah. Okay. Stop jumping. So what the admins will do with the parameters, they will add this kubeconfig in a secret on the cluster, and then add this description which contains weird things. It's an example.
Auto-generated thing, basically.
Yeah. That's what I was more expecting. Basically, we can give a name to that cluster, the name of the kubeconfig which corresponds to it. It gets an ID, and then a couple of parameters, as I mentioned, which session storage class to use, things like that. And then with this ID, we can, go to a resource pool, and I'm just not creating them live, they're already there. We can create a resource pool and mention that should be there. Does this view? No, sorry. Okay. Then we get a resource pool linked to that same cluster that we just added. And here we have as many as we want resource classes, and they are automatically on that cluster because they are part of the resource pool. and we can specify whatever. That's also to be discussed with the institutional administrators, what kind of classes they want to do with what kind of quotas. Those are parameters that we can just fill in coming from them. And then also with the toleration, the node affinities to correctly schedule things as needed if we have like GPUs or special hardware. And when that's done, for a user, that's basically just going to to your regular dashboard and, for example, start a session and select among the pools that you see, one which is like remote, and then you can just start it. And while it starts, here I have my test deployment with the core setup, and we can see that here I have a session starting, and it will arrive soon. And that's kind of it. I mean, it's a lot of infrastructure, lots of things to get right, but it's kind of magical when it works. Yeah, I don't know if there are more questions.
Just one quick clarification. So this means that as long as the data lives within or is accessible within the other cluster, it doesn't have to be accessible from outside, as long as it is compatible with any of our clones formats.
Yeah.
So it can be within the other cluster.
Yeah.
Accessibility, only within the other. Okay, great. Thanks.
So I mean,
across the. Well, is that true? Because we won't be able to verify the credentials, for example, from Renku Lab. But maybe that's a detail.
Yeah, but you can skip that step. So that's something that's kind of in a rabbit hole. But yes, usually we have a test button so that you can. Obviously, from the core platform, the test will fail.
Yes.
But that's
expected.
But yes, that's expected. Starting the session, you will be within and be able to access.
You do have to open
the session
ingress into the session, but not ingress into the. You don't have to expose the.
That's the whole
point. You have to poke a hole in your. Renku has to be able to reach your cluster.
Yeah.
Like to start the session.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's
but once this is done, the session can access the data, and Renku doesn't have to. Yeah.
I had a question regarding your move to Azure. Would they geographically be based in Switzerland, Europe?
Sorry, I did not understand.
Yeah, it will be based in Zurich, in Switzerland, in Zurich.
In Switzerland, yeah, because we might have some DPOs particular on like Renkulab.io, okay, SDSC, okay, but from where is the access request coming from?
Yeah, it's a Switzerland. It's a Switzerland North region.
Right. Okay.
And that's it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Merci.
I missed where the priority class or the quota gets linked to the.
That's based on the name.
That's then in the resource class, the resource pool, right?
Yes.
Definition. Okay.
So that's one of the modifications.
And so the administrator on the other side has to create that ahead of time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's the classes, just like the ingress class, the storage class, the priority class have to be provided.
Okay, because normally within the main platform that's created
on the
fly, but there you have to create it manually. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the only difference for us is that instead of this being generated, we provide it when we create.
Okay.
So we say use that name instead of just creating it.
Thanks.
That's how we do it. Yeah.
But also, there's no quota then. you don't have to worry about it, but then you have no quotas.
Yeah.
So you don't require the quota. Okay. You can have basically a public pool on the other side, kind of.
I think currently there's some limitations in the code, but we can remove them.
Yeah. Right now.
Resource pool that has the quota.
Well, if you do that, it will generate one on the fly. That's the plan. With default values.
Anyway, it's easy enough to do, but
Yeah.
it's just an extra step.
One question, how do you go about credentials rotation to extend the cluster?
That actually just worked, so I did not care.
Well, no, you would have to tell us, like, you can. If you want to rotate credentials, as in like the cube config that you generated is not valid anymore, then you have to tell us, like, we cannot automatic.
You can't do like an expiring cube config.
Well, if you take, for example, an OpenShift, you log in and it expires around 24 hours after that. So you would have to create your own config that's long-lived.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there might be some person that are not really comfortable in providing.
I mean, the
that
first
kind of stuff.
I think the first use for this will just be for us internally to kind of like be able to run on different clusters that we control. But yeah, once we make it more, we have there's a bunch of there's a few like caveats that people need to be aware of.
Yeah. I know. So, which we do.
Thank you. So any other further questions? That's a wrap on the two coming features and then one demo for the roadmap that we wanted to share today. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.